Welcome to this deep dive into dependency injection and entity framework core in .NET. In this video, we will go beyond the basics and explore how these two pillars of modern .NET development actually work in turn. So what exactly is dependency injection? At its core, DI is a design pattern where an object receives its dependencies from outside rather than creating them itself. Instead of a class saying new database service, the framework injects it automatically. Let's look inside the .NET container. When your app starts, program.cs calls builder.services to access an iService collection. This is a list of service descriptor objects. Each descriptor holds three things: the service type, usually an interface, the implement. Understanding service lifetimes is crucial. There are three types. Transient means a new instance is created every single time the service is requested. Use this for lightweight, stateless services. Scope means one instance per scope. In web apps, each HTTP request creates a new. Now let's trace what happens when you request a service. When you inject iMyService into a controller, the request pipeline creates a scope. Service provider.getService is called. It first checks the call site cache for a cached strategy. If not cached, Entity Framework Core is Microsoft's modern object relational mapper for .NET. It lets you work with databases using C# objects instead of writing raw SQL. Define entity classes that map to database tables, and EF Core handles. The architecture of EF Core has three key components. First is DbContext. This is your unit of work and repository combined. It manages the database connection, tracks entity changes, and orchestrates queries. Internally, DbContext creates a state manager, a change track. Change tracking is where EF Core's real magic happens. When you query entities, EF Core stores snapshots of their original values in the state manager. Strict entity gets an internal entity entry object. This entry holds the entity's state, added, unchanged, modified, deleted. The EF Core query pipeline is fascinating. When you write context.users.where goes to u.age greater than 18, here is what happens. First, the LINQ expression tree is captured by iQueryable. Then the query compilation context receives this tree. The query migrations let you evolve your database schema alongside your code. When you run .NETDIEF migrations add EF Core snapshots your current model using model snapshot. It compares against the previous snapshot to detect changes. The migrations. Now let's see how DI and EF Core work together. In program.cs, you call add DbContext of app DbContext. Internally, this registers DbContext as a scope service with a factory delegate. It also registers DbContext options and all. Congratulations! You now understand the deep internals of dependency injection and entity framework core. You have learned how the DI container resolves services, how lifetimes work, how EF Core tracks changes.